you trust Ferguson Roof Systems to replace your roof, we go the extra mile to protect your home and property. On every job, we deploy durable netting to protect your home's exterior and landscaping. It's just one more reason why you should call Ferguson Roof Systems today.
All right. Hey, everyone. Meteorologist Aaron Tuttle with you. Every time I say that, I think of that line from Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused. There's another part of that line that comes after that, but I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. It's funny, some of those old movies you just can't make anymore because the PC culture will shut it down. Anyway, so hey, welcome to AT's Weather. We're talking about the upcoming winter weather changes on the horizon. And a lot of you have sent me messages out there going, is it really going to happen? Are we really going to get some ice? So-and-so's not saying it. So-and-so's not saying it. I'm just like, it's fine. It's fine. Come here. All you need is me. You don't need so-and-so. I take care of all the so-and-sos. So we will tell you the science behind the magic when it comes to the weather. As funny as I kind of give away the secrets of the secret recipe, so to speak. So any of the forecasters out there that watch that don't see or use what I do can now go and see and use what I do. Then they can actually get better at their job, and then you don't have to come to me and go, hey, so-and-so didn't say it, then so-and-so will say it. So anyway, we do show you a lot of the stuff behind the scenes that kind of help you get integrated into the weather science part of the forecast versus just you seeing a map that just shows you green and red and highs and lows and just taking my word for it. And here I actually prove it to you as to why things are set up the way they are. So it's a big learning experience. It's like going to class. I like to teach a little Meteorology 101 class every night here about 9:30. So that's the kind of the way it's been set up. Okay, so you guys on YouTube, thanks for checking in as always. Good to see you. And some of you like YouTube, and some of you like Facebook, some of you like Twitter, and some of you like Rumble, and it's okay. I'm reaching out all of you. And as we go through time, I'll try to add more platforms as more become more popular, and many of you jump on. On Facebook, by the way, I think they finally fixed the notification system, at least on me. I actually was notified twice now in a row that I was going live, and a reasonable amount of time. In other words, before, it's too late, before the show ends. Sometimes it's not always the case for you. If you do click on that link I just posted, check it in the comment section. It's flying by. Click it quick. You can opt in to get a direct message from me on my Facebook Messenger. And then for those that are part of the internet saga the other night, I'm happy to report, so happy to report, that my internet speeds, both download and upload, are good to go. So you're watching the night, we had a colossal crash of my Cox cable system. And I'm susceptible because I'm the very last node and the very last line in the neighborhood. So anything that happens upstream, I get hosed. So it's on the upload channel, right? Because it's not fiber. They won't do fiber here. So it's coaxial. But anyway, so I told the guys, I said, you're wasting your time coming to my house. And of course they do. And they waste their time. But they get the line guy out, which is what I really needed them to do. And they did. And the line guy found out the two reasons, which I said it would be. And this time around it was amplifiers. I had 4 amplifiers on my line. Yeah, it's that bad. And 2 of them went bad. Of the 4, and that's what's causing all the noise in line, which kills the upload for me. So I got that all resolved today. So thank you, Cox, for coming out and handling that in a quick order. The tech that came out here was like, I don't know why I got escalated. I don't know why he's so important. It's like, don't be a hater, man. Just fix my internet. Don't worry about that. All right, so we're all good. So now I've got time here for everybody to get in. So now let's get on with the deed. Whew, got a lot to cover. All right. First thing first, the overall meltage of the snow over the last few days. This is kind of what it amounted to if you kind of bring it on to the liquid equivalent. And it was some much needed rainfall overall. Moisture for the state, you might say. And if you want to multiply by an easy factor of 10 for a 10-to-1 ratio, that would correspond to 4 to 7 inches of snow here across Oklahoma City, which, as you know and I know, it all melted minus the last inch or an inch and a half. It was pathetic. But that's kind of the way it was out across a good chunk of the state to the west. To the east, they had a mixture of rain and snow in these higher amounts. And then, of course, Tulsa, you got pretty much just all rain with this. But at least we got some moisture. That was the only good news in that. If you're a snow lover and you want it just to pile up in piles like I did, melting does me no good. All right, here's a look at the NAM forecast. We're looking at the upper levels of the atmosphere. Big change in the jet stream pattern. So first we go from this northwest to southeast flow, which is going to bring in the cold air first. And then we transition to a southwesterly flow. So go all the way to the end of the forecast period for this model, which goes until Monday morning. And that brings the jet stream in like this, curls it back across like so. That taps into the Pacific moisture train and upper level disturbances that rotate through. And that also helps to pull in the Gulf of Mexico moisture. And of course, at the same time, we have the cold air coming in from the north. So it's a trifecta. It's a perfect setup. It's a classic setup for an ice storm situation here across the southern plains, especially as long as you've got a little bit of Arctic air to deal with. Okay, so let's take a look at that. I'm going to show you the 925 millibar levels. And here we go. This is the leading edge of the cold air. You can see in blue, that's where it's below zero. Now that is on Saturday night into Sunday morning. So the front will come through probably before midnight here in Oklahoma City Saturday night. So Sunday's going to be a brutal day, just to let you know right up front. So there's Sunday morning. Starting to put the brakes on right about in this area. Ooh, I don't like that color. Let's go this color. All right, start to put the brakes on right about here. Typical of what these kind of air masses do. So here we go. And then as I go into the end of Sunday, into Monday, it kind of stays. We have a little reinforcing push here. If you notice, color's got a little change color, so it's got a little colder up here. But the leading edge is about in this location. All right, so that goes into Monday morning. So why is that important? Okay, so if we look under above that layer, and I'll go right here, just fast forward to Sunday. So remember, Sunday is when the cold air is coming. If we're going to extra layer up in the atmosphere, a few more thousand feet up, I want you to see where this cold layer is. This cold layer is right about here for the freezing line. So it kind of goes to show you we've already have a disparity of where the atmosphere sits. So what that means is this warm air is going to be riding on top of the colder. That sets the stage up to getting those clouds to build in here, to get light precipitation forming. So if we look at the warm air advection, which is this little red that shows up here on the map, look how it explodes during the day on Sunday. Now that's enough to get the clouds going. We might squeeze out a little bit of light wintry precipitation on Sunday, but as we head into Sunday night and Monday, it's kind of infiltrated across the state. So this is what sets up the very light freezing drizzle, a little bit of light freezing rain in the first wave of this activity. So we're going to show what this means. I'm going to put this in motion, I think. Let's do that. And this data, of course, just came in. All right, so let's go into the Sunday time frame. All right, you can already see a little hint. It's not much, but it's the model just now catching onto the pattern. Up here in northeast Oklahoma, Sunday evening, little drops on the map for freezing precipitation, a little bit of a wintry mix, a little bit of ice and snow. Otherwise, mostly quiet is what it would appear to be. Now, if we look at another view of this part of the atmosphere, let me show you the profile. So we'll start to, let's just go to, yeah, we can do this. Yeah, I'll just leave it here. That's all I need to tell you. So what happens, this is the freezing line that goes up in the atmosphere from surface upwards. The profile in the lowest few thousand feet is below zero. And the red and the green is the temperature and the dew point. They're together. So in other words, they're saturated. So this means cloud cover and also means light freezing drizzle, freezing rain. So that is the forecast type then for like central Oklahoma, maybe even the whole entire body of the state by that day. So if you look at a forecast plot sounding, freezing drizzle and rain. So what does that mean for you with a temperature of 27 degrees at the surface? It means your Monday might be a little bit on the ice skating rink. It'll be very, very thin as far as precipitation accumulation. If we do look at how much precipitation the model so far, and remember this is early. In other words, the models are just now getting to the window where they're going to start to understand what's happening. They're already producing, there's a 1/10 of an inch here from Tulsa to McAllister and then back around. So this is just now starting to show up. So they're late to the party, but that's great because what does that mean? It means there's still room for a human forecaster versus the model. That beats it at its own game. Thank goodness we can at least get a day or two out ahead of them, right? Once AI kicks in, I'm hosed. You won't need me. So until then, live it up, Aaron. Anyway, so what that's going to show you is we might have a little bit of an ice skating rink come Monday. You're going to be going out and around across the state. Now, again, this is early, but we shall see. Now, after we get past Monday, what happens? Same idea. I'm going to show you this. I'll show you this European model. Monday evening. Matter of fact, let me just jump into Tuesday. Let's just go ahead and do this. They're a little bit different here, all right, than what we saw last night. And this is why we have to track this every day because things can change just slightly. It pushed the Arctic boundary right through Dallas-Fort Worth, okay, and then down here into western Texas. Okay, that's where the Arctic boundary is of where it's going to be below freezing or more than likely. Now, at the same time, let me go ahead into, again, I think we're on Tuesday morning, I think I said, or Tuesday afternoon. So right in this region, the 850 degree line is about like this. Okay, so what does that mean now? That means then, according to the European, this is your ice zone Okay, maybe not this part. Got a little too crazy, but where the red line is, this is your ice zone, and then this is your sleet zone. If you remember last night, I talked about sleet's little balls that bounce around. Don't cause power outages, just cause some road issues. Whereas the freezing rain is everything that accumulates, weighs down the trees, weighs down the lines, et cetera, et cetera. So this is just the change in the European data as far as how it's shifting around the precipitation type. And we talked about how this would be expected. That's why when you guys are messaging me going, is it going to be my house type deal? It is too early to tell you. I can just tell you the pattern is a nasty potential for catastrophic buildup of ice accumulations over a large area. So I'm not kidding when I say that. It's some hard language, but it's just what the pattern shows. Now, again, the devil's in the details, and we're not really going to know all that until about Saturday. So that's why I kind of just want to let you know now, because you're only going to have a whole lot of time over Sunday to prepare if there's already got ice on the ground on Monday, right? That gives you 1 day. I don't want you to have 1 day. I want you to have a few days to kind of get things in order, depending on how things go. And if it turns out where things start to get a little bit better in the data and it shifts around, it's not affecting you, can pat yourself in the back because it's going to affect somebody. Down across Texas, there's that warm air advection showing up for Tuesday. It's not as strong as it was last night in the data, but that's okay. It's going to go back and forth. An idea on temperatures, like we mentioned for Sunday, there's 20s in the afternoon to rebounding maybe into the mid-30s. So Sunday again will be cold. Wind chill vibes be in the teens and 20s. Then we head on to Monday. That reinforcing shot of cold air comes in. So we're still into the 20s out there across the state here for Oklahoma. Again, in Dallas-Fort Worth, you have the leading edge of the cold air. But as far as the really cold stuff, that may hold off. And each model is going to be different. The NAM is probably going to be the best at the early stages of guessing where that freezing line will be. The European probably second best with that. But in other words, on Tuesday, we're still in the deep freeze here across the state with precipitation that comes in different waves. And all that precipitation will come in the form of either freezing rain, sleet, or snow. All right, so that's enough of that. We'll zoom in and kind of show you the trend here. So there's the light precipitation from the front that comes in for Saturday night into Sunday. A little bit of shower, maybe a thunderstorm activity, weak overnight in southeast Oklahoma. And then the European model does not indicate the light freezing rain on Monday like it did yesterday. That's not surprising. In the morning, but by afternoon it does start to show that mix coming in from southwest Oklahoma with the first disturbance, and quite a heavy disturbance that moves through midday into the afternoon. So that's a mixture of all precipitation types. It's just going to shotgun it. Here is a look in the evening. It's got more of the pink for more freezing rain, some snow up in Tulsa. And again, this will change, but this is the first wave that comes over Oklahoma during the day on Monday. And then we have wave number 2 that comes in on Tuesday morning, and this has more of a full-fledged ice appearance with it across the southern half of the state. It does some heavy snow across the northern half of the state. But remember, do you remember my little thing I drew you that was looking kind of like this? So this is the reason. It's that difference between the 925 millibar layer and the 850, where you got to watch where those 0 degree Celsius lines are, the freezing line overlapping. And if you get too much of that warm layer that kind of does this, you're going to get that right there. So that's good news. If let's just say this is exactly how it's going to turn out. What the model is suggesting on the secondary round, not the first, but the secondary round that moves in for Tuesday, it's all snow, baby, for the northern half of Oklahoma. That would be awesome. And then it's all ice for the southern half of Oklahoma. That's not so awesome. But again, this is going to be a daily updated thing. All right, so that's during the day on Tuesday. That wave moves out. Do you think we're done? No. The upper low is still out west. It has to come through. Here's Wednesday. Again, it's got a mixed bag of ice and rain for western Texas. As we go through time with that one, the upper low starts to kick out, looks like across New Mexico. So they got a lot of snow with the colder version of that. And then that swings on by for Thursday, giving us a mixture of rain, freezing rain, sleet, snow. And that moves across Oklahoma and North Texas, including Dallas and through Arkansas. So that is the overall signal and the noise. Now, here is just a glimpse at what potentially is possible. Here's the ice accumulation forecast for that period of next week. Now, with that new change in the data from yesterday to today, the European is now focusing what was here in Oklahoma down now across western Texas, almost into Dallas-Fort Worth, and into southern Oklahoma, and then a little bit in Arkansas, and then on eastward from there. The American model, which is notoriously horrid at doing anything with any model, any weather event, period, is so bad, man. Why do we have to stink so bad? But whatever, man, it is what it is, and it's got basically nothing. It says, you know what, a whole week, basically dry, nothing to worry about. And then the Canadian model that comes in, and it is a Armageddon lover. It says, you know what, I'm going to take whatever you think it's going to do, and I'm going to multiply it by 1,000-fold. And I'm going to paint the most ominous looking picture you could come up with. So it's got ice accumulations of 1.5 to 2 inches here in North Texas and 2 to almost 2.5 inches here in Arkansas. Now, keep in mind, it did this during the ice storm for Oklahoma in October of 21. That was when I was getting engaged, and I was not even here. I was in Mexico dealing with a hurricane and then covering weather back home. That was a fun week for me. A lot going on that week. But I remember seeing some of these totals, and I couldn't believe it. Like, it was just too much. And in the end, it is too much. It's a rough estimate divided by 2 on the Canadian rule of thumb, because it always goes a little too crazy with the ice accumulations. And then you get closer to reality. And it was a big ice storm. This one, again, if this holds, this is a new trend. It's been trending higher and higher and higher. If this holds now from here on out, it's a done deal. Now, the question is where? Does it shift a little south? Does it shift a little north? It's just like the data I showed you in the European. It all depends on when those overlapping temperature profiles are in the atmosphere. But let's just say this was right. Let's just say exactly as this is going to fold. Now, you tell me that's not catastrophic. You tell me that's not something crippling. You tell me that's not something that's going to knock out power for days, weeks, potentially a month. That's what that is. You don't want that. But that's on the table. Models didn't see any of this a couple days ago, 3 days ago, 4 days ago. It's just a pattern recognition because, man, ice storms are no fun. And they're a little late to catch on, but they will eventually catch on. By the weekend, they'll know it. But you want your earliest heads up as you can, and that's what I'm giving you. If it turns out that things quiet down, say the low doesn't eject, it stays trapped out there in southwestern part of the U.S., and we get just very little bit of light precipitation, fine, I'll eat it. But the point is, the pattern's there, you got to be prepared. All right, so here's a look at the most low-end outcome you could possibly get in the model blend of the data, which just shows anywhere from 1/10 of an inch of ice accumulation during that period. This is a dramatic difference. Even this has dropped from yesterday, so it's all over the place because it takes in too heavy of a lean on the American model, I can assure you. So that's causing that lower amounts. And as we mentioned, the other data, I look at ensembles and I look at how much the signal is there in each of the panels. On the Canadian, it's like almost all the panels. Every one of these has the little red in there for ice, right? Right here in the Southern Plains. So they're going to move around. It'll shift. Some in Oklahoma, some in North Texas, all that kind of stuff. The European, same idea. Let's go to it. So look at the different panels. Each one of them have a mixture of that rain, sleet, and snow, which is the green, orange, and red. And that's on Monday. So you can see Monday. Remember that panel I showed you a minute ago? The European really didn't have anything for Monday morning. Let me go back to Monday morning. Let's go right there. All right, Monday morning, it only has one of these panels that actually already has precipitation here in Oklahoma. So it's probably going to get a little late to the party on the morning start, the way things are looking. But it'll catch up here for that big wave during the day. It's not going to get the drizzle very good, but it'll get the big wave that comes in midday. And you can see how that explodes across the state during the afternoon on Monday. And then that continues. Look at how it just keeps growing. This is for Tuesday for the secondary wave. Look at all those panels filled with ice. Then we're going to go to Wednesday. There's that Wednesday, that final hurrah in the morning hours. For another little batch of ice that comes in. That's 3 days of ice accumulation in the pattern that we're in. And then finally, the last day, it produced a little bit of snow and it moved on out. I can show you other panels, same idea. There's 50 of them, and I showed you the first 25. Here's the second 25. Same idea, same story. So yeah, you can ignore this and go, might have a little ice, might have just a little bit of snow, a little bit of ice. That's fine. You can go with that. I'm going to go with what the data says and the trend says and the pattern says and just say, hey, you better be prepared. All right, so here's a look at Monday on the American model. Remember, the American's horrid. But some of its members actually has an idea there's a storm versus the control, which did not. So there's some of the panels there. It's got a mixture. And it's got a lot of sleet for Oklahoma. And I will tell you this. I am perfectly fine if our ice storm is in the form of all sleet and not freezing rain. Totally fine with that. Why? Because it doesn't affect power. Hardly at all. It's mostly just a travel issue, travel nuisance. But it has a full-fledged winter storm in there during that period for Tuesday. Very hard signal. And even the one here on Wednesday night and a Thursday, a little bit of a good signal there in some of the members. So it's not completely clueless, but All right, so here is a look at just a graphic. If you look at those, all those models of ensemble members for total ice accumulations, and this ends right at the end of the period, which is the 31st. So this is Tuesday morning. Actually, excuse me. No, it's Monday night. I take that back. So it's just all it can see this far out is just Monday on this panel. But look at this, how they're starting to come around. So many of them are starting to say measurable of ice, and that starts Monday morning. So they're just in that window where they're going to start to see. And if you want a flat down view of what that looks like, this is the European. Let's see. Let's go to day 3. So day 3 is Monday. Wait, is day 3 Monday? That's on the... No, it's on the Sunday night. Kind of a deal. All right. So Sunday night on into Monday. And you will see there's a few indications. There's some kind of ice trying to develop there in eastern Oklahoma. So it kind of has an idea that, yeah, there's something brewing. And then on the Monday period, look how some of this shows up. Now, this little amount is anywhere from 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of ice accumulation already in the data for the day on Monday. And so you see how that kind of pops around in different zones. So those are the different ensembles that are trying to nail down where the heaviest precipitation is going to be. This is the Canadian. Remember, it kind of shifts things a little bit more to the south. Some of its signal is going to be down into Texas. But you can see how it continues up across Arkansas, Missouri, and Illinois over time, further down the road. And we talked about that the other day. So this is just now getting those windows where we can start to look at this data that provides a higher level of confidence. And then we can start to narrow down more of the exact locations. So today through this Thursday is just a heads up. This is it. This is the pattern. This is the potential. From this point forward, starting tomorrow and really on Saturday is where then we nail everything down as far as more of the placement and then the amounts. We start to get better as we get through the weekend. Now, some of that stuff's going to be too little too late. So you're going to have to make an educated decision as to whether or not you just want to risk something or you want to be safe, make alternate plans, that kind of deal. But I'm giving you the information and I'm allowing you to decide what you want to do with it. Here's a look at the temperatures for Sunday, Monday. Obviously, it's going to be a cold day on Sunday, so this will be probably in the midnight hour falling throughout the day. So we'll be in the 20s again on Sunday with wind chill values in the teens at times. Same thing for Monday and Tuesday. And don't hold your breath for this. Wednesday, Thursday will probably still be in the 20s. And then after that, again, we'll see how quickly we warm up with the pattern change. There's so much chaos in that. When you have this type of a situation unfold, it gets a little hairy out there. So that was a lot. Okay, my website, AaronTuttleWeather.com. Go here, go to the weather tab, click on multi-state road conditions. So if you're traveling, you got plans, you can check the roads all over from Oklahoma. Oh, that's a nice new little graphic they put up there. Oh, no, it's an error. That's why. Here's a look at Oklahoma. You can pick on all the cameras that'll show up. Then you can see exactly how the roads are doing. You can also look at the live camera network here across the state. You can do that from ODOT. And same thing for Kansas. There's Missouri, and you have Colorado, and you have Arkansas. So you can just, this one-stop shop, if you got to know exactly what roads are like and where for your area. You can download my weather app, AT's Weather to Go. It's free. Apple, Google Play. Just search for AT's Weather or my name or AT's Weather to Go. Any of those three should get you there. And you can track the radar on that. You get your forecast. So one thing I will mention, when you're looking at app forecasts, including mine, I'm always going to be first. Like me, my brain. The app will not be me, my brain. It will catch up, but I will always be first to let you know what the pattern changes, what's coming our way, etc. So if it doesn't show, what's going to happen initially, like today, it'll eventually catch up. You just have to give it some time, because some of that stuff is a blend from models and the National Weather Service, and it takes some time when you have dramatic changes in the forecast to update. So don't be surprised if your app, and if you use other apps, they'll be all over the place for the next few days. Just understand that. Then, like over the weekend, they'll all settle down. They all be in agreement. But again, I want you to have the most amount of time you can possibly have to make the biggest decisions that you need to make. That includes winterization of your home, your car. If you're going to be leaving, have somebody check on it. If you have a generator, make sure it's working. If you need fuel, get that. If you need food, get that. Yada, yada. And that's it. And then we'll just kind of see what happens over the next coming days with the data. Bottom line, could the ice shift down more south, say in the southern areas of Oklahoma and the Red River, and leave the majority of Oklahoma just cold and some snow? You bet. Sure could. And then could that ice then move down to Dallas-Fort Worth and hammer those folks? Sure could. It's too early to get that specific. I just know it's in our general area. If it shifts out of yours, be thankful. That's it. Just be thankful that you don't have to deal with it, because everybody that will have to deal with it won't be having fun. All right. I lost my 2 trees in the last ice storm. That was not fun, because they've been around for 10, 15 years, I think that was. And they were nice trees. I was really upset. So I don't have trees anymore to lose. So whatever. As long as they keep power, I'm good. But I've got a generator just in case, and maybe you should too. I'm sure there'll be a run on the generators this weekend if once everybody else starts hooting and hollering about ice and power issues on the news. There'll be a run. So, if you want to be early, tell them AT sent you. Ask for a discount for early shoppers. And that's about it. Okay, so that was pretty much everything. You guys, thanks again for sending stars tonight. Tiffany, I see what you did. Chris, awesome. Appreciate you, brother. Anytime you guys send me stars on Facebook, it's kind of like tipping your creator. So I appreciate that as a content creator. I know there's a lot of content creators out there. Cindy, thank you very much. You're on a 2-week streak. But yeah, anytime you guys do that for me, that's great. If you want to join Facebook fan subscriptions, you can do that. Patreon, Subscribestar. There's some other options on the website you can check out. But I'll be here again tomorrow evening, right about the same time, around 9:30. And then I won't be doing live at lunch tomorrow. Sometimes I do those, but I won't be out of pocket. And then over the weekend, of course, I do lives for you there as well. David, thank you for the stars also. And that's about it. So you guys stay tuned, be safe, be warm, sleep well, and tune in and later on, and we'll see how the trends are going. Hopefully they'll be in your favor, wherever your favor may be. Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Good night, everybody. See ya.